Hi everyone, welcome back to Life Renovations. This is Carrie Collins. We are into week 14. It's time to get started. I want to talk this week about a really important lesson on harmony. And when I say harmony, your first thought most likely comes from music class. Harmony means putting together two or more notes that create one pleasing sound, or a chord. Musicians spend years in music theory class learning about which notes produce pleasing sounds and which ones cause discord, and how each note needs to be resolved to come back to a pleasing harmony. A successful chord progression starts off stable, it moves away from that stability, and then it comes back and returns to stability. As human beings, we find so much relief in returning to stability that music has the ability to actually move our emotions. It's not the tension that's beautiful in music, it's actually the resolution. It's finding the harmony again. And it's no different in the physical world. The universal source of energy is constantly striving for harmony. Everything in the universe is made up of positive and negative forces, is looking for the match that will create attraction. So the perfect chord could be a perfect atom, or a perfect molecule, or the perfect object. And the same is true in your life. Your body and your soul are constantly driven towards harmony, the pleasing effect of the joining of two forces. If every force in the universe is driving towards harmony, then why is it that we're not living in peace and harmony with everything we need and want, like right at our fingertips? The answer is that we get results in the exact accordance with our understanding of the law of love. The law of love states that feeling gives vitality to your thoughts. Feeling is desire, desire is love. And without understanding, we can't harness this power. It's just like we couldn't get results from electricity until the light bulb was created. And until electric companies figured out how to put electricity in our homes through wires. And until an electrician actually put light sockets and switches in your house. And finally, until you actually learned that if you put a light bulb in the socket and flip the switch, that you can have light. Now we've all seen the fascination of a 2-year-old learning to turn off and on the lights. We've all been taught the laws of electricity. It's not something that we innately know. So without that knowledge, you would literally be in the dark. It's no different with the law of love and the law of attraction. With this new knowledge of these laws and their principles, you can bring harmonious conditions into your life. Now, this knowledge will give you a completely new relationship with your environment. You can open up unlimited possibilities by the simple application of this law through your mental attitude. Now, you know your mind is creative, and through the past 13 weeks, you've practiced recognizing this creativity, and you know that it's legitimate and inherent in the nature of all things. What we're going to talk about today is the fact that the creativity of your mind doesn't originate in a single person, but in the universal, the ultimate source of all energy and substance. As an individual, you're only a channel for the distribution of this energy. You're the means through which this universal energy produces various combinations which result in the creation of all sorts of things. So physicists are working really hard these days trying to figure out all the minute details of our universe. And what they're finding is really kind of cool. As they continue to discover that everything is so full of empty space, there are actually some physicists that believe that there's no such thing as solid matter. Now that seems ridiculous, like the chair I'm sitting on is still a chair. But according to the laws of science, it's only a combination of energy and in fact has no solid physical form. So the confirmed discovery of Higgs boson back in March, the Higgs particle, has turned upside down what scientists believe about quantum physics, including the evidence of a matterless state. So bear with me, this is complicated information. And I'm not a physicist. So let's just kind of have a high school science lesson on atoms. You know from the periodic table that scientists have classified all matter into 118 elements. The molecules are created from atoms, and under those are electrons and neutrons and protons. And with all these scientific discoveries, we have lots of other pieces and parts. And they're all spinning around a nucleus, no different than how our planets spin around the sun. They're spinning around open space. And that open space is the universal energy that I'm talking about. It's the force in that open space that binds everything together. It's the force that turns a bunch of spinning planets into a mappable and reliable solar system. So let's get back to quantum. Let's get back to atoms. We know that electrons join to create atoms, or they can spin off to create something different. And they're all around us right now, searching for the right harmonious condition to create something new. So whether we call them electrons or quarks or leptons or Higgs particles, we know that there are particles out there that create the universal substance from which all things are created. Electrons would remain spinning about in space unless they were directed where to go and how to be assembled into atoms and molecules. And the director is what we call the universal mind. It acts through the law of attraction. It's that magnetic pull that attracts or repels. Simply put, this is how atoms are made. Well, in your body, you have cells. Your cells are full of water and empty space, just like atoms. And your cells possess enough intelligence to perform the jobs you need to keep you healthy and alive. You start as a single cell and begin the process of living, consuming nutrients and reproducing each cell until you become a complete person. Your cells continually perform this life process throughout your entire life. Live, eat, create, and eventually die. Some cells operate independently, some as complex societies of like cells that create organs or organ systems, and ultimately your entire body. They all have jobs, whether it's to build tissue, to aid in secretions, to carry minerals, or to repair damage. Your body is this whole complex world of workers, including an army to fight off invaders and a scavenger system to take out the trash. All cells together are working for one common purpose, and it's to create harmony in your body. Each one is its own living organism with enough intelligence to enable it to perform its duties and continue its life's purpose. To do that, it must have sufficient nourishment and be smart enough to know exactly what kind of nourishment it should consume. Cells are born, they reproduce, they die, and they're absorbed. The maintenance of health and all life is dependent on the intelligence of cells. Now, there's a mind in every cell of the body, a negatively charged mind, the subconscious mind. We call this negatively charged because it doesn't push out information, but it can only accept it from our positively charged mind, which is the conscious mind. The subconscious accepts information from the conscious. This is how metaphysical healing works. Through your practice with affirmations, you've already begun the work of charging your cells with healthy and harmonious information. And as new cells are reborn, the old cells die. And you're in effect creating health and harmony in your physical body. In the mental world, you're creating the same effects. As a living organism, life is constantly changing around you. Every discovery that you make has life, needs nourishment in the form of practice, reproduces, and dies. All ideas are reborn into new generations, each with more knowledge and more information than you had before. As you accept the knowledge shared by others, you're lifting yourself higher and higher towards your life's purpose. Conversely, every time you share your knowledge with someone else, you're helping them reach their life's purpose as well. There's a cause behind every effect. And if you follow the trail of knowledge back to the original source, you'll see that everything about your current life, your face, your build, your character, and your environment has been a reflection of this process of life, nourishment, reproduction, and death. The process of the law of love and the law of attraction shapes your entire world, and at the center of these laws is the substance of the universal mind, and it's that energy that's in the empty space. The subconscious mind is the connecting link between the universal mind and your conscious mind. So consciously you suggest thoughts to your subconscious, which accepts them as true and immediately puts them into action. We learned that months ago. If the subconscious connects to the universal mind, there's no limit to what you can achieve. This is difficult to understand because it's impossible to see, but you can look at what's true. Thought is reality. You can pay attention to your thoughts, you can write them down, and you can hear them in your head. It is true that you have thoughts. Your conditions are also true. The state of your emotions, your environment, your financial stability, and your career. These things all exist. Through your practice in this course, you should be able to see by now that you get what you ask for. So your thoughts create the conditions because your conditions have to be in harmony with its creator, and your creator is your conscious mind. The step between it is the subconscious, which has no ability to reason, but only gets to work to create what it's been told to create. So for this reason, your thoughts have to be clear-cut, steady, fixed, definite, and unchangeable. You can't take one step forward and two steps back. You also can't take an entire lifetime of negative thinking and expect it to change on a dime because you're carrying affirmations around on a postcard in your pocket. You have to be disciplined to practice if you want to bring radical change into your life. And this must be deliberate after creating your ideal picture of what you want your life to be. You can't allow anything to interfere with your decision. Whether you want to live healthier, happier, more affluent, or all three, you can only do so by changing your mental attitude. This is the only way to bring harmonious conditions into your life. So harmony is the creation of pleasure from two or more compatible vibrations. Whether the vibrations are two compatible musical tones, or the vibrations of two compatible atoms, or the vibrations of two compatible people, the universal mind is constantly striving to pull together pieces and parts that are harmonious. Now, musical notes are vibrations. You know this because if you play a guitar, the sound stops if you stop vibrating the string. The pitch of the note depends on the frequency of beats per second in each wave of the vibration. So you change the pitch by shortening the string, which causes it to vibrate at a faster frequency. So if I play like a C, then the notes that are harmonious with C will vibrate in a compatible way. So they all flow together and it sounds good. Our thoughts are also vibrations, but they're not so easy to stop. Like you can't just put your finger on the string and make it stop shaking. Your thoughts keep going, not so easy to stop, but they are just as easy to change. If you're unhappy with the conditions in your life, it's because you're vibrating on a note that you don't want and drawing towards you unhappy conditions that vibrate in harmony with that note. So if you're vibrating down here, then the things that come with you are also vibrating in conjunction with that vibration. Remember, the universe wants to be in harmony. So if your thoughts are vibrating on unhappy, then the things will be drawn to you that make that true. If you don't want to be happy, or if you do want to be happy, you have to change your vibration to draw happy conditions into your life. So you come up to this vibration and you're happy, and then happy vibrations also go with it. So these unhappy vibrations down here, they don't sound good. They won't stick. It's not harmonious. So changing your mental attitude is the only way to accomplish this. You have to change the vibration of your thoughts. Now, when you eat healthier, nutrient-rich foods, your cells continue this life cycle. They live, they eat, they reproduce and die. But every new cell will be born stronger and healthier until every cell in your body has been reborn this way. It takes time. The cells between your ribs take 7 years to regenerate, while the cells in your intestines are reborn almost every day. And the same goes with all the conditions in your life. They continue this life cycle. They live, they eat, they reproduce, and they die. As you change your thoughts, which are the nutrients of your mind, you slowly but surely allow the negative conditions to disappear and positive conditions to take over. Your outside world will be a reflection of your inside world. It has everything to do with the vibration of your thoughts. These guys pass off, and these guys keep moving. Does that make sense? I hope so. Now, it's important to look at the situations in your life that bring you tension. And you can figure out how to change the frequency of the vibrations of your thoughts when you know what you need to change. When you do that, you can stop bringing in unwanted harmony and start the process of the harmony you want to create in your life. You're going to run through this in your guided journaling this week. But for a simple example, let me tell you a little bit about me. My house is messy and cluttered and feels chaotic. So I'm going to take you through the exercise that you guys are going to do for myself. Why do I feel that this is chaotic? Well, first, I can't find things. I don't have time to clean, and I can't afford a housekeeper. Other things seem more important, and I don't feel comfortable inviting people over because it's kind of messy. Now I'm going to take these thoughts and think about how they've actually materialized in my life. Well, one, I can't find things because I allow myself to put things anywhere instead of in their place. Two, I don't have time to clean because I don't have a structure for when I want to clean that I can stick to because of my travel schedule and my work schedule. It's just not predictable enough for me to get into a routine. Three, I can't afford a housekeeper because I don't think that's a good use of my budget when I can do it myself. Yet I find it really easy to spend the same amount of money eating out at restaurants every week. Next, I feel like other things are more important, like rest. My job is physical and cleaning is exhausting, so really, shouldn't someone else do it? And lastly, I don't feel comfortable inviting people over because my cats are messy. Even though my house isn't really that bad, I'm embarrassed by the unending supply of cat hair tornado that's everywhere all the time. So now that I have those 5 things that are kind of like my excuses, I'm going to look into what fears are attached to each of these excuses. So I suppose I'm afraid of putting things in their rightful place because I might change my mind about where they should go, or I might forget where the right place is. Second, the fear about scheduling time to clean is that I'll need that time to do something more important, like I'll have to do work, and I'm afraid that that time's not well spent. Third, I'm afraid to hire a housekeeper because I'm afraid that the money won't be well spent or that I just won't have enough. Fourth, I'm afraid to actually clean because I'm afraid that I'll be tired after. I'm afraid it will exhaust me. And lastly, I'm afraid that if I do clean, there'll still be cat hair everywhere, so why bother? It's just a waste of time. There's hair everywhere. So next I'm going to turn all these statements into truthful affirmations. So 1, I know where everything belongs in my house. 2, a clean house makes me more productive. 3, I can cook in a clean house and use the money saved to pay for a housekeeper. 4, my energy is better spent on clients than on cleaning my house. And 5, there will always be cat hair, but I can control it by spending a few minutes a day sweeping the floor. Now I want to rewrite my thoughts based on my new affirmations. This changes the vibration of my thoughts to a higher frequency and gives me solutions and hope that I can change. It'll also start attracting to me the things I need to make it work. So right now, keeping my house clean feels like complete chaos to me, but I know from my truthful statements that hiring someone to deep clean is a better use of my time and money. It'll make me more productive and more comfortable in my home. I'll feel more comfortable cooking in a clean house and inviting friends over, so I can save money by not eating out as much and put that towards my housekeeping budget. I can also take a few minutes to manage the cat hair every day so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Now I have some solutions, and I don't feel so hopeless about the process. My vibrations have changed from hopeless, which are down here, to hopeful, which are up here. So you can do this yourself surrounding any situation in your life. I mean, a messy house, it's very simple. You can use it for anything. But I want you to look in your homework this week for a worksheet, and it'll guide you through this whole process. You're just going to basically do exactly what we just did. Now also, for your meditation this week, it's really quite a different meditation, very different. Instead of sitting in silence this week, I want you to find the recording of Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet Fantasy Overture. There's a great version on YouTube that you can listen to for free, and I'll put that link in your follow-up email. You only need about a half hour, and you only have to do this once. You don't have to do it every day. But I want you to listen for moments of pleasing harmony and moments of discord. Notice when your body feels at peace listening and when you feel tension. You'll notice how throughout the piece Tchaikovsky plays with you by creating a combination of entire sections full of tension and some entirely full of harmony. Now, Romeo and Juliet's no happy story, so you can imagine there's this combination of fighting and turmoil mixed with the feelings of first-time forbidden teenage love. Each time the tension comes back, it's worse, more intense, which makes the harmony so much more beautiful when you reach it. It has the ability to move you emotionally. And this is one piece of music that can totally shake me to my emotional core. It sometimes is cliche and people make fun of it because you'll know it when you hear it. You're like, oh my gosh, this is in Bugs Bunny. And they're like running in the field towards each other. It's ridiculous, but there's a reason why it gets used for this so much, because it hits you so hard when you hear the turmoil versus the harmony that it's almost ridiculous how much it can affect you. So in the last few seconds of the piece, you're going to hear a series of chords that have to be resolved. And when they do, there's like one drawn out note, and you'll feel this sense of relief because you've finally gotten home. You're to home base. This is the from harmony to instability and back to stability. It's like the best exhale you've ever had. Like when you sit down and you're just like, oh, thank God. It feels really good. Now, music is a wonderful way to experience harmony and discord through your senses. Live music is even better because you experience the actual vibrations from the instruments. So if you really enjoy this meditation, I suggest you find a way to incorporate some more classical music concerts into your life, or just listening to the really great repertoire of classical music as part of your meditation and silence practice. It's really great for you. And then for your physical challenge, I hope last week was awesome. I hope you went and tried something really fun. This week you can decide if you want to continue that new activity or just be proud of yourself that you ventured out of your comfort zone and tried something new. Now this week we're going to focus again on stretching. One of the most beneficial things about resistance stretching is that you can actually feel what's going on. A good stretch in the right place feels harmonious, like a relief, and that feeling will manifest in the exact muscle group that you're stretching. On the other hand, if your body is out of balance, you might feel a dull pain or a cramp in the wrong area. So today I'm going to teach you how to bring balance into your body. When you stretch one muscle group, the muscles on the opposite side are passively contracting. So like if I'm stretching my bicep by lengthening it out, my tricep contracts in the back, and vice versa. If I'm stretching out my tricep here, my bicep contracts. So I'm long here and short here. Sometimes muscles don't always want to contract all the way because there's some sort of ailment in it, like a knot or scar tissue or tightness or even being overstretched. So if I have a problem in my bicep and I go to stretch out my tricep this way, I'll get stuck there. When you force a muscle to passively shorten, it behaves similar to a Chinese fan. Look at what I got. Hold on. Ta-da, it's a little broken. It's a Chinese fan. We all know these. They fold up and they open up. It's just like an accordion. If all's good, it closes just fine and there are no problems, right? But if there's some kink in the fan, like if I just throw a kink in there, when I go to close the fan, it doesn't close all the way. It just bubbles over itself, folds over itself. Your muscles work the same way. If there's some kink in the muscle that you're trying to shorten, it'll manifest as a dull pain or as a cramp. So just like in my Chinese fan, the only way to remove the kink is to open the fan back up, stretching it out, working out those kinks, and then trying to fold it again. This time, it folds up just fine, right? By now you should have all of your stretches memorized. You've been doing them for weeks. You've been practicing them regularly. So now I'm going to switch up the order on you this week based on balancing front muscle groups with the back muscle groups and inside muscles with outside muscles. Each muscle group works in harmony, and if all's well, it'll feel good. But if you notice that when you do the lower chest stretch and you feel like a dull pain or crampy feeling in the back of your shoulder, you'll have to stretch out the muscles in the back of the shoulder to remove the kinks, and then return to the lower chest stretch to complete that stretch. So simply said, do the stretching in this new order that I'm going to give you. You do 4 reps of each stretch first, and then repeat them with 6 reps again. So you do 2 sets of 2 stretches. So I'll do 4 of the chest and 4 of the back, and then go back into 4 of the chest and 4 of the back. You should notice a difference in the sensation in the second set, less dull pain and more of a good stretching feeling in the right muscle group. This week is all about harmony, and when you can physically feel your body come into balance, you'll come into a realization of what harmony actually is. So for this new order, you're going to look in your journal that I give you in your homework, and it'll tell you exactly which muscle groups to work together. You'll just have to take out your white sheets of the stretches and look at the names of them and pair them up, okay? I want you to do this at least 4 times this week. You could do it every day, but if time's an issue, it's okay to do like arms one day and legs the other, but make sure that you keep the pairs together. It's really important. The order is super important here. And then for your diet challenge, if you know me, and a lot of you do, you'll know that I've structured my career around the ability to have bacon and eggs for breakfast as often as possible. Now, there's a reason for this. I was working a miserable desk job in San Francisco. I was taking the train and the subway 2 hours each way to get there. Each morning, I'd be on the N Judah streetcar and we'd curve around a little strip on 9th Avenue, and I'd just watch all these people. They're meeting for coffee and for breakfast, and well, I just continued reading my big giant books. I mean, I read like all of Ayn Rand's books because I was on the train for so long. With all my being, I wanted to get off that train and just go to breakfast on Tuesday morning. So I quit that job and I restructured my life so that I could have breakfast on any given weekday. And I do. I have bacon and eggs on Tuesdays all the time. Now, based on what we've been taught to believe about eggs, this might seem to be a pretty interesting fact coming from someone in the health and fitness industry. Now, I know bacon's not the best option for me, but we'll get to that later. Eggs, on the other hand, have gotten a bad rap for being high in cholesterol. And you'll be happy to hear that it's actually been proven in many different studies that people who eat eggs regularly actually have lower cholesterol than someone who only eats eggs in moderation. Now, eggs are not only full of vitamins and minerals and potassium, they're a good source of choline and carotenoids. Choline is a building block needed for your brain and nerve health, and one egg supplies 20% of your daily recommended value of choline. Carotenoids give the yolk its bright orange color, and it helps with your eye health. So when you feed your brain and your eyes with the tools they need to stay healthy, you're actually protecting yourself from two of the most common ailments of aging, dementia and loss of vision. Not bad for something that tastes good and costs like barely anything. So on top of all this goodness, eggs keep you full. Recent studies show that people who eat eggs for breakfast tend to eat less calories at lunch and dinner. This can contribute to weight loss over time. So it turns out eggs for breakfast isn't really a treat after all. It could be better for you than having a bowl of cereal. If you ever notice you eat cereal in the morning, you're hungry at lunch, like you're starving, you eat eggs for breakfast, you are not starving for lunch. That means you'll eat less calories. You can lose weight that way. The highest quality of eggs, so you know, have bright colored yolks. You'll get the best results, the best health results from eating fresh, new eggs from organic free-range chickens. And they'll have bright yellow, bright orange yolks. They're a little higher priced, but even if you're paying $5 a dozen for eggs and you have 2 eggs at each meal, you're getting a full meal for like $1. Here are some easy ways that you can incorporate eggs into your diet. So you can hard boil eggs. Hard-boiled eggs are easy and quick, and you can take them with you anywhere. So what I do is in the morning, I'll throw on a pot. You cover the eggs in cool water. I'll usually make half a dozen at a time. I cover them in cool water. I add a good healthy pinch of salt, cover it, and leave it on a high burner for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, carefully remove the eggs and let them cool down or run them under cold water. The older the eggs are, the easier the shell comes off. If they're not so fresh, the shell will come off really easy and they'll look fancy, but they're not as fresh. Fresh organic eggs are really difficult to peel, and a lot of times the parts of the egg will come off with it, so be prepared for that. You're not doing anything wrong, it's just that your eggs are fresh. So I find it easiest to remove these shells if I run it under water as I'm removing it. And then for the cooking water, you can save that water and use it on your houseplants. Houseplants love the calcium that comes off of the shells when you cook. Now your hard-boiled eggs can be kept in your refrigerator for about 7 days. I usually make half a dozen, like I said, and I keep them ready for just like a quick breakfast. If I'm on the run, I just grab them and go. Now if you don't like the taste plain, you can cut them up, put them on your salads, or put them in tuna salad or whatever. Now you can quickly scramble eggs by taking 2 eggs, stir them up super fast, add a little bit of milk, or rice milk is totally fine if you want them to be a little fluffier. But sometimes you don't even need milk, just stir them up. Throw them in a pan on medium-high heat, stir them constantly with a spatula to keep them from sticking to the bottom, and you'll know they're done when they're solid, but still a little bit moist. Now if you're really adventurous, if you're a better cook than me, you can make an omelet full of leftover veggies from your fridge. I just leave out the cheese. You don't need it. You know that from taking out dairy in your diet. You could make it with cheese. It might be delicious, but you don't need the cheese. So veggie omelet full of nutrients is really low in calories, and it's a great meal option for any time of the day, lunch or dinner, anytime. And it's so cheap, especially when you've got vegetables in your fridge that you haven't used for, from other meals. So it's a great way to just kind of use up all your vegetables and have a really cheap and easy meal. And then you can also experiment with egg dishes when you're out at restaurants. Now, eggs take many forms. You can get quiche, you can have omelets, you can have frittatas, which are baked omelets. You can have a souffle, which is like what Superman made with his eyeballs. Remember those? And you can also have them like fried in all different stages, from like over easy to over hard, or poached, which means that they're cooked in water. There's so many options. Just remember that when yolks are uncooked, they could have salmonella in them. So you want to make sure if you're cooking them yourself, you wash your hands really well. Or if you're at a restaurant, keep that in mind, that you want to make sure that they're not completely raw. Now in Chicago right now, a lot of restaurants are competing to create really interesting versions of Eggs Benedict. That's what I'm finding in restaurants, and I love it. You have all sorts of different kinds of meats, from seafood to different types of hams to pulled pork to fried chicken. I mean, I've had them all. various meats, different types of vegetables, arugula, spinach, tomatoes, anything they can throw on it, and all different types of sauces too, not just hollandaise sauce. And it makes it a really interesting way to order eggs if you don't really want to always have the same type of eggs all the time. Now remember, if you're doing like an eggs benedict, that hollandaise sauce is really high in fat. So I'll either get it on the side or leave it off unless I'm really feeling like, I don't care, I'm just gonna eat the fat. The point is, you have so many options with eggs that you could eat them every time you go out to a restaurant and never order the same thing twice. Eggs are a great option to your diet. They're totally safe to eat on a daily basis, even the yolks. So this week, I want you to incorporate an egg meal into your diet at least 2 days and see how your energy increases and how you feel. All right? So that culminates today's lesson. It's all about harmony. I want you guys to really be paying attention to how it feels to be really in harmony and thinking about how you are in harmony with the low vibrations in your life too, and how if you bring up those vibrations that harmony will prevail and you will actually bring in harmonious things into your life as well. All right, so that's it for today. If anybody needs to log off, go ahead and log off. And if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and throw them into the chat and I'll answer those now. Now I've got one thing. Someone says, I'm back on and I'm caught up on listening, but I'm behind on the assignments, and that's totally fine. Everyone that I've talked to is finding having a little bit of trouble staying on track, and this is not a surprise to me at all. I think it's important that you do keep logging in and listening, making sure that you're continuing to move forward. The assignments will happen when they're supposed to happen. Your meditations will happen when they happen. The physical stuff will happen as you want. But if you just keep moving forward, you're always going to be making progress. So that's very, very useful. Yeah. Any questions about today? It's kind of a small group, so. All right, well, if there's nothing, that's cool. We'll go ahead and log off. Maybe everybody's out having brunch. That's what I'm gonna do. All right, I will see you guys all next week. Be on the lookout for your assignments for this week and the recording of class, and also the survey that I'm promising you every week that I just haven't been able to get to yet. So I'm getting that out to you right away. So very good. I will see you guys next week at noon. Have a good week.